The following portion of Mass Appeal is sponsored by Eagle Protect.
September is National Food Safety Month, an important time to empower everyone to prevent foodborne illness. September 18th marked the inaugural Global Glove Safety Day. Joining us today to discuss this new initiative and share tips on preventing foodborne illness is Dr. Darin Detwiler, lead spokesperson for Global Glove Safety Day and food safety consultant at Eagle Protect. Thank you for joining us today. How are you?
Great. Thank you very much.
Of course. So this idea of Global Glove Safety Day, how did it come about and what impact do you hope it'll have?
Well, the idea for Global Glove Safety Day came about from this growing recognition that gloves play a critical role in maintaining food safety, but they're often overlooked in broader safety discussions. In talking with various stakeholders, it's very clear that glove and food handling gloves used in food handling are a primary barrier between workers and food. And so, the goal of Global Glove Safety Day is to raise awareness about the importance of using the right gloves, ensuring they meet safety standards, and fostering better glove hygiene practices. It's just incredibly important that we make sure that businesses know how to use, select, and train staff on glove use in order to prevent food safety risks. A risk I know far too great, as the reason why it was on September 18th. September 18th is actually my son's birthday. My son Riley died in 1993 due to an E. coli outbreak, and he would have been 33 this year. But it's important we understand that the role between our food safety, and the true burden of disease, and just how important it is that gloves act as that safe primary barrier between workers and food.
I'm so sorry to hear that, but it makes sense why you are so passionate about this. So when it comes to the businesses, why should they be more vigilant about food handling gloves when maybe reassessing their food safety practices?
Food handling gloves often are a point of failure in terms of maintaining food safety. A recent peer-reviewed paper published in the Journal of Food Protection found that there were a variety of pathogens found in gloves imported to the United States. In fact, an independent test of 2,800 gloves from 26 different glove brands found human fecal indicator organisms in 46% of gloves. So we have to think about how low quality or damaged gloves will have the potential of introducing risks by workers wearing torn gloves or wearing gloves that will allow contaminants to go through. So it's incredibly important that we have this evaluation of glove protocols, making sure that we have the right quality, the right fit, and that we have the right use and hygiene standards. We really need to make sure that employees, wherever they are, whether it's manufacturing or on the food line, workers are properly trained on glove use, because this can make a huge difference in terms of reducing the spread of harmful bacteria to consumers.
So not everyone works in the food industry, but even if they don't, why is it crucial for everyone to be aware of these food safety practices?
Well, first, everyone can become ill from a foodborne pathogen, but it is the most vulnerable populations, the very young, the elderly, those who are pregnant, those with compromised immune systems, that are often the ones who end up in the hospital and unfortunately end up being part of the 3,000 Americans who die every year. The reality is that foodborne pathogens follow an oral fecal route. So many people get sick not from eating contaminated food, but from person-to-person contact. Improper use of gloves, whether they're torn or the wrong gloves or not being worn at all, are a critical problem in terms of making sure that we prevent or have that barrier against pathogens.
So is there anything that we can do as consumers, and what can they take to reduce that risk?
Well, first off, buy food from places that are reputable. You have trust in whether it's a restaurant or a retail establishment, make sure you trust who that is. Second of all, if you see practices that are not safe, point those out. Hey, why aren't you wearing gloves? Or why was there bare head contact? Or I saw someone taking out the trash and then they came back and were handling food and they didn't wash their hands. Something I see often is people are wearing gloves, but they're wearing gloves, they're handling food, they're handling the cash register, they're on their phone, and then they go to handle raw food. That's not acceptable. And we need to make sure that as customers, we point that out. In our homes, I think there's things we can also do. We can wash our hands before and after handling foods. We can make sure to use separate cutting boards and utensils for use with raw meat and ready-to-eat foods to prevent cross-contamination. We could also make sure we're properly cooking foods to the right temperature and storing them at safe temperatures in our freezers and our refrigerators. Finally, making sure that we're cleaning our kitchen surfaces. It always helps if we start clean if we want to end clean. And it's a great way to make sure that we're actually properly suited on our journey to protect every plate.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for sharing not only your story, but these tips for people to keep in mind. It is great talking to you.
Thank you very much.
The preceding portion of Mass Appeal was sponsored by Eagle Protect.